Hey, welcome everyone. It's Cari Cole, and we are at our Google Hangout tonight. Name your fears, face them, and free your music. And we have special guest featured artist Andre Henry here with us tonight. Hi, Andre. He's going to be joining us in just a few moments. And we have a couple other artists who are going to pop on any moment now, who are going to join us. So I'm just going to start the conversation because there's been a lot of inspiring quotes and messages coming in about, as we're doing this little campaign about really living your artistry and stepping up your artistry. And so there've been a lot of wonderful messages coming in, and people talking about kind of what's in their way, what's standing in their way, and fear is a big issue. So I wanted to bring it up tonight, talk about it, expose it, bring it to the light, and host this Google Hangout and talk to some other artists too. It is a really common issue, especially in the creative arts. And you'll see some other people popping on. That's Tiffany. We'll see her in a moment. Hi, Tiffany Brown.
Hi.
So I'm just giving a little introduction here. And I just wanted to welcome everybody who's listening at home and who's watching at home, and here for some inspiration and a moment to actually crack through the veil a little bit and put your dreams more firmly on the table in front of you, instead of racing somewhere behind you in your brain and driving you crazy, right? Because that's what fear does. Fear holds everyone back. Everyone. There's not one person who doesn't feel fear at some point in their life, in their career, in their journey here of being human, right? And at all different levels we feel it, at all different times in life. There are times, things are going great, and then things happen and fear comes up. And the truth is that fear is there to greet you at every step of the journey. And, one of my spiritual teachers, Don Miguel, the author of the Four Agreements, would talk about, there's two tracks. There's the track of fear and there's the track of love. Which one are you going to listen to? And sometimes that voice of fear gets really, really, really loud, right? Especially as we move through our experience in life and things happen to us, especially when, things that we get rejection or we don't get to where we want to be, and then we start making up a story about that, and then we're kind of living from that story, which is hopefully tonight we can kind of bust through some of that. And especially, I post a lot of inspiring messages and quotes on my Facebook wall, those of you that tune into that, and we need that, because we need that. We need more inspiration, motivation. We need more good in our lives that can help push us forward and encourage us as artists. But that's not enough. We need the stories, and we need the one-on-one connection, and we need to hear about other people's stories and difficulties. And that's why I've brought some other artists on tonight, so we can talk a little bit about that and what they've done in their lives to push past their fear and to step up into a place that is going to challenge them, right? So, because whenever we illuminate that fear, and let me just say this, that fear likes to hide in dark corners. And that's why, you don't want to tell people about your fears. So the natural response when somebody talks about fear, what are your fears, is you selectively decide, and as you're listening to me tonight, you can be thinking about this for yourself. What are the fears that I hide away? What are the fears that I'm, or things that I'm ashamed of that, are lurking in those dark corners, or not even that deep? What are the fears that are present in my life right now that are holding me back? And it can be as simple as, like, you don't feel that you're that great with people, and so you don't go out enough to see, to mingle in the scene and maybe meet people the way you should. This is a way that fear holds us back. And I just recently wrote a blog post. Let me just pull it up, because there's questions that I asked. Hang on one second while I pull that up. That are really common questions for artists. Like, Are you afraid your voice won't hold up for your professional career? Are you so afraid that you missed your chance that you don't practice? That's a huge one. Are you afraid that people won't get you and your songs, so why try? Are you afraid that people in the industry won't take you seriously, so you keep them at arm's length, right? Are you afraid to say how it really is in your songs, so you sugarcoat it? Are you afraid people won't like it if you tell the truth, so you sugarcoat it? Are you scared to commit to a style, so you try to please everyone, right? These are really common fears that we have as artists. Are you afraid of losing friends because you have to go practice, right? Afraid of how long this whole thing is going to take, that you'll be stuck at your day job forever? Are you afraid to stand out and lead? Are you really afraid to stand on that stage and really be who you are? Are you always hiding behind a character? Are you afraid of your own power? And it's normal to have all these fears. And those questions are on a blog I just posted this week. So if you want to take a look at that when we're done with this hangout and just, you know, ruminate over this and make a list of your fears, because fear likes to hide in the dark shadows. When we expose our fear to the light, when we name our fear, when we claim our fear, it starts to dissolve, right? So that's a really important step. If we're always, you know, if we're lying to ourselves about it and always shoving it in the corner, in that dark corner where no one can see it, not even ourselves, we don't even want to fess up to it, that's when fear's running the show, right? So, you know, I'm going to start with Andre, because I know he has to leave to go to a concert tonight. So and thank you so much, everybody, for joining. And Elise is here. Yay! Hi, Elise. So I want to talk a little bit about this. So first, I just want Andre to share a little bit about where he is in his career, what he's currently working on. Tell us a little bit about yourself. He's an artist I really love.
So hi everybody, I'm Andre, and I guess you could say I'm an indie soul singer-songwriter, and right now I'm working on my second EP with a producer that I really respect in Queens. His name is Cari Cole, and we're just working on finding my signature sound with this record, and hopefully this will take me to the next level as an artist.
That's awesome. And I listened to some of the mixes the other day, and just some really beautiful stuff. That one Rosa song, really lovely. So I'm really excited to hear what's coming. So talk a little bit about, you know, what some of the challenges have been for you in the last year or so in your career. Kind of how you happened to come to me and how that all came about.
Okay, so I think perhaps the biggest challenge was just feeling like I didn't really know what my lane was or is as an artist. And you know, I've heard you talk about signature sound and your signature look and stuff like that. And for me, I've been playing music, writing songs for most of my life. But you know, if you said, well, what is Andre Henry's signature? When you say you're going to listen to Andre Henry, what does that mean? You know, what is he about? That was like the biggest challenge, and I think that was when I decided to look you up after hearing you on a call last year. And I guess what really got me on that was just seeing like my career is not really growing. It kind of stalled. So yeah, that's
awesome. Yeah, I mean it's a tricky thing, you know, and now that we've been working together a little bit, like what you know, well, can you before we go into that, can you say like what is your biggest fear as an artist, or you know what I mean? You know, we named a whole bunch of them. I mean, I think the sort of general fear is like I'm not going to crack through. I'm not going to be able to do what it is I love. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. As you were talking a minute ago, I started just jotting down some notes, and I think obviously I have the fears that most people do. You know, that of failure or that you won't make it, or that I think one thing for me has been that I've kind of stayed away from a lot of industry people because I feel like they might turn me into something else, that they won't really get my essence, you know, and so that's something that I've been afraid of. But that can also, you know, that can also be me being afraid that I don't get my essence, and so that manifests itself in ways of like, okay, well, when was the last time I wrote a song? Well, I haven't written a song because I think the next thing I write is going to be stupid because I
Yeah.
don't get myself, right? I'm not comfortable, things like that.
Well, and that's very perceptive. That's exactly what I'm after because we don't realize that those excuses that we're using or those fears that we have, how that actually trickles down into the way that we act and the way that we
Mm.
are. Having a fear about not being understood, and then you keep those industry people at arm's length, or you're offensive or defensive somewhere in your psychology when you're even talking to them or meeting them, and you don't realize it, right?
Hmm.
We
Yeah.
don't realize these things. We wonder why things aren't coming towards us. So we do have more control than we think. And the important thing is to identify, to be real with yourself, just to fess up. Sometimes we're afraid to fess up about the fear as if it gives it more energy. It's the opposite. It's the opposite. It's like it's exposing it to light, and here's the thing about fear. Don't believe your fear, right? So you have a fear, you expose it, you name it, you call it what it is, but then you don't believe it. Fear is a fear. There's a acronym for fear: false evidence appearing real,
Hmm.
right? False evidence appearing real. That's a tweet. Yeah, FEAR, false evidence. It's evidence that we're gathering. It's information that we're gathering that is saying that, for instance, in that case, that industry people are going to change me, right? And then see how, that person is going to change me, that person is going to change me, but those are all assumptions. Those aren't necessarily truths, right?
Hmm.
And here's the even bigger piece of that. So what if industry people are going to try to change you? Why don't you be you anyway? What are you afraid of? You know what I mean? You have a choice in the matter at every turn, at every step. If you are trying to please people, it's going to be really hard. If you're in relationship with people and you're honest and true to your own feelings, then how can anybody make you do something you don't want to do, right?
Yeah, I can I throw one more thing at you? Because as you were saying that, it really hit me because I'm a minister. I usually don't tell people that. When people ask me what I do for a living,
I love that
you
part
know,
of you.
I tell people that I can't tell them what I do for a living, or the government will come looking for them. Uh, but I'm a minister, and so that actually brings a huge level of fear to me because there's one side where I say like I don't write Christian music. I don't want to write Christian music. I'm not interested in it. So I always think, oh my God, I'm going to confuse people. Like that is one of my biggest fears. I'm going to confuse people. And the other fear that I have is like saying what I really actually feel in my words because I have to see people in church on Sunday, so
Yes.
I'm afraid of
But
pissing people off
you're
or
caught on both sides of the fence, right? Both sides of the coin.
exactly.
Okay. So
Exactly.
my
So that
challenge.
manifests itself in like what I write and what I say because
Thank
I'm
you
like,
so much for sharing
who
that.
am I gonna piss off when I, say exactly what I feel,
Thank you so much for sharing that. You are serving so many people right now. I can't even tell you. You're serving like hundreds and hundreds of people right now. This is so huge. This is so huge. And this is, every single person that I know, artist that I know, for the most part, has this operating on some level in their songwriting. Right? Tiffany, can you relate to
Yes,
that? Right?
totally.
I can relate to that. I put out a record, inspired by the Four Agreements, and I put the Lord's Prayer on there, and I'm like, oh, Jesus, they're going to think. Oh, Jesus, they're going to think I'm Christian. And the Christians ask me if I'm Christian, and I was raised Christian, but I'm not really Christian, and then I'm like, why do you care? And it's just this whole conversation. It's this whole round and round and round, but I did what I wanted anyway, but I didn't put that record out commercially with the commercial intent. I just put it out as a labor of love and a project that I loved, and I didn't really care about it. When you're going out there in the marketplace, it's a different story because you don't want to confuse people in genres or in lanes. But here's what I would say to you about that, Andre.
Right. Uh-huh.
Take the lid off. Take the lid off. Don't any longer worry about what the people in church are the people on the street.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? They're you and me. And if they don't like you and they don't want to follow you as a pastor or a preacher, then they're not your people. And if you offend them, look, I wrote a blog the other day, and I'm right there with you. You know, I like to please people. I like to make people happy. But it's tricky. You know, I wrote a blog the other day and it really ruffled some feathers for this person. But I spent some time, you know, replying to him because it matters. But you know what? I'm excited when I'm starting to ruffle feathers because I know I'm telling more my truth, the way I see it. Because no one's going to see it exactly the way you do, but then a whole lot of other people are going to get served. Do you know what I mean? In a good way. I don't mean neighbor. It's your, you know, when you hold back a piece of yourself, you're ripping us off from the full experience of who you are, which I know you now for 6 months, and I think you're an extraordinary person, and I tell you that all the time, and I want that to come forth, you know, who you really are. I want who you really are to come forth, because I know that if you do that, that's magical. Yeah. You know? So just keep taking the lid off. Okay, how can I do it a little bit today? How can I do it a little bit more? Am I really saying what I think? Because if you say it in your songs, if you on your record, if you say exactly what you think in the way you think it, it will serve people, because so do a whole lot of other people. Right. And who are we really hiding from? Yeah. Who are we really hiding from? This is our life. Right? Patricia's desperately trying to come on. She keeps asking having such a hard time. She's trying to get the Google chat on her phone, so her computer just can't handle the bandwidth for some reason or something. But anyway, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, we need to ask that question: who am I? What am I afraid of? And one of the ways to work through that is to say, well, what would happen if I say that? And follow it down the road, follow it down the line, and keep asking the question. And then what? And then what? Like, let's just do this for a second. Like, what would happen if you said something outrageous and someone in your church got offended?
Like, what would happen? What would the consequences be if I offend someone?
Just make it up. Like, what would happen? What you know? Go from your fear. Like, my fear is that.
No, actually, you know, I have had like angry messages from some random believer. You know, some random Christian. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that Michael Jackson is one of your idols. You know, one of your inspirations. Don't you know that he touched kids? And like, well, he's not my inspiration to be a child molester. Like, he's my. You know, like, that's not why I admire him. You know, things like that.
Well, and that's what you say.
And that's probably as worse. And that's probably the worst that it gets, though, is that somebody says, "Well, I hate you," or.
Music. And okay, and then what happens? So then this person says that, and then what happens?
I think that's the worst of it, though. It's just, you know, someone tells you they don't like it, and that's it. You know.
Yeah. I mean, so take a deeper fear, like a fear, I don't know, you're the person who employs you as a pastor.
Right. So that's the thing, though. Like, if I were, let's say that I made it big, right? Everyone knows who Andre Henry is, and everyone knows that Andre Henry's a Christian or a minister in some way. You know, you see people lose credibility in that world all the time because they believe something that every other Christian doesn't believe, or they said something that every other Christian doesn't believe, or that Christians aren't supposed to say. You know.
I just fell off the Google chat, so I'm back. But to give me a summary.
So I guess the bigger fear, if we wanted to, you know, magnify it, is that suppose I became a public Christian in some way. You know, I'm famous as an artist, and people know I'm a Christian.
Yes.
You see people lose credibility in that world and become, I guess you could say, excommunicated because they believe something that Christians aren't supposed to believe, or they said something that Christians aren't supposed to say, or whatever. And so I actually do have that fear sometimes, you know, that I'm going to say something in my church, I'm going to get fired from my church. Yeah. I'm going to make it big, and then I'm going to sing something in some song, and they're going to take it somewhere.
Right, and then you follow that down the road, and then what would happen, and then what would happen, happen. And what happens when you get to the bottom of it is you realize the fear doesn't really have that much juice. Right. You get down to the bottom of it. But here's what you would do if you were taking care of that situation. You would go and talk to your pastor, and you would say, look, you know I'm an artist, and look, you know, I'm putting out this music, and I just want to let you know that my music is part fact and part fiction, and it serves a whole bigger audience than a Christian audience. I didn't want you to be offended by anything, and I just wanted you to know that I was, you know. So that there's ways that we can take care of ourselves and present things, you know, that give ourselves the permission to be who we are fully. Because
Right.
whenever we're hiding ourselves behind something, I'm telling you right now, you will not find your greatness hiding in the shadow in any way, shape, or form in your lyric or in your music. You won't.
Right.
You will not. And that's what we admire about people in the spotlight who are our heroes, right? Because they stand boldly in that light.
Right.
And I love the imagery of it, you know, like we're standing in the spotlight. I mean, there's nothing to hide, right? There's no place to hide. And when we do that, it's transformative, it's magical, it gives other people the permission to do the same.
Yeah.
And that's how it starts to dissolve, and you start to gain power from that. And that's being a leader and stepping into that. And you are a leader in so many ways. All of you are, right? Because we're at different levels of it, right? So to step more boldly, you know, plant our feet more firmly in who we are and trust that it'll all be okay, and then do whatever it is we need to do in our communications to make that okay.
Right.
You know, explain ourselves, because it's complex,
Mm-hmm.
but it's perfectly complex. It's beautifully complex. It should be.
Right.
And our job is to bring that to light with all that you are.
Yeah.
And present that to people with all that you are, you know.
Mm.
So let me talk for a minute, and then I know you've got to scoot because you're going to a concert tonight. Who are you going to see?
I'm going to see Amel LaRue.
Ooh.
Awesome. Very, very cool. So before you go, I know that you've taken some of my programs. You've taken Step Up, and you've taken Artist Success Circle, where we did Fast Forward, and you're halfway through that, the new Fast Forward.
Right.
Just tell me, you know, for people out there that are thinking, because we're in the middle of launching this program, which is really about craft and career and artistry and truth as an artist. So I'm really glad we're having this conversation about where you are. How is this helping you move forward with your artistry and your career?
I think that for sure the biggest thing is that I moved to New York to pursue a dream. And it's like when you make, you know, I mean, we all have this dream, but like when it's a dream, it's just like this big, mystical, ethereal, non-tangible thing, right? It's like a cloud you're trying to grasp at. And, you know, it's just unlikely that you'll ever achieve it if you keep looking at it that way, you know? You have to start looking at it as, okay, what do I want to accomplish and what do I need to do in order to get that accomplished? And so I think the biggest thing with Step Up, with the Artist Success Circle, is that it's not just saying, okay, I want to do this thing and it's going to be great. You know, it's, okay, I want to make $50,000 with my music in a year. I want 1,000 fans by the end of next year. How are we going to do that? You know, okay, I want to be a better singer. Okay, here are the vocal exercises we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do every day. You know, it makes a plan out of it, you know? And that's the thing, like a plan has to have specific things that you're going to do, details, deadlines, all that kind of stuff. And it's just, every artist needs discipline. Like that's the thing that's going to make an artist.
It's the hardest piece.
Great.
It's the hardest piece, I think, you know.
And that's what this is bringing.
Yeah, yeah.
For me. And even though like I wasn't a lazy artist, but it did help me to get clearer, because otherwise I would still be like clouds and mystical dream and yes, somehow I'm going to keep doing things and I'll get there.
That's what the creative brain has. That's what the creative brain is good at, right?
Yeah.
And that even needs some structure in order to be able to manifest, you know, a product and manifest in the world, right? We need some structure and discipline. But and that's a big piece for artists in general. I struggled with it myself. You know, it was really, I think in some ways sometimes it was hard to practice because I didn't know if I was going to get anywhere. Yeah. You know?
And it's also choosing. That's the biggest thing from these programs too, is that it's not just the structure, but it's also saying, okay, I'm going to choose. I'm going to choose to be the artist of my life, as you would say. I'm going to choose where my true north is, as you would say. I'm going to choose, you know, to be successful. I'm going to choose to not operate out of my fears. That's what I've learned from you.
That's awesome. Yeah, it moves you out of victimhood, I guess, you know, into creative professional. you know, like I have a choice in my life. Well, it's been my honor to work with you and guide you, and I know we have more to do together, so I'm really excited about your record. And this record's coming out at some point. Do you think it's this year or early next year, or what are you anticipating?
I'm leaning more toward early next year.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I just want to plan, but I mean, you never know. But I'm leaning more toward January.
Well, you guys, you need to check out Andre Henry music. I mean, he's just an exceptional artist and has a lot to offer. And thank you so much for being here and sharing with everybody.
Thank you for having me. Nice meeting you all.
Have
See
a
you
great
guys.
concert. Bye.
Thank you.
So yeah, we learn from each other, and we learn by listening to the stories that, you know, we're all in this together, and it's really not that different, right? We're all individuals, and we have our own individual experience, but we're experiencing a lot of the same things, and so that's why I love doing these programs and bringing these groups together. And I know Elise and Tiffany are nodding their heads because they've been doing this work for a little bit, you know, and it's so incredible for me as a mentor and as a guide and coming from the artist perspective to walk this path with you and watch you guys blossom and watch you guys take a stand for your own artistry. And I think this is, you know, in the materials I've been putting out lately, it's really talking about the rush to release, you know, the rush to marketing before the music is really established. And maybe Tiffany, you could talk a little bit about that, because I know I've been working in development with Tiffany for couple of years now, a year and a half. I don't remember what it is.
Yeah, about 2 years.
About 2 years, and it's just been an amazing experience watching her grow. And she really came in, you know, not having written anything. We wrote her first song together, and sitting right here in the studio, we're sitting right next to me, and it's just been an amazing journey. Can you talk a little bit about kind of where you're at and what, you know, how that came to be?
Definitely. Wow, I'm actually a songwriter now and a real artist. And, you know, I think that, can you not hear me?
I can hear you, but you're not popping up into the main screen. I don't know why. I'm not going to worry about it. Just keep talking.
Okay. You know, I came in completely naked and completely,
She was naked. She was completely naked.
completely naked as an artist. And honestly, I had no idea about what I was supposed to be doing at all. And I think that it's like, you know, Andre was saying, when you see these artists and you have these dreams, it's all kind of this big mystery as to how do I really, really get there, you know? And I think that sometimes it is about, you know, a product. People hear you sing and they go, why don't you have a record? Well, there are some steps to take, you know, in between there. And so working with Cari originally in the Emerging Artist Program and then doing Step Up and doing Artist to Sex Circle, it's just been amazing. It's been amazing. The biggest thing for me was that I had no idea what I wanted to say. And it's very hard to write when you're not exactly sure about who you are and, you know, what you want to say. And what I realized is that my biggest fear at that time was my own self. I was so edited because of where I came from. And don't get me wrong, my family loves me, but we're all kind of conditioned, you know, in some type of way, or domesticated, you know. And
that's a huge piece. Don't hold that back, because that's a very big piece. But most artists are afraid to write their own truth because they don't want their parents to hear it.
Yeah. It comes, you know, a set of norms and a set of rules. Yeah. And I realized that not only was it my writing, but my entire life, I was not really doing what I wanted to do. And I did not know if I really understood who I was or what I really wanted. And the programs, they pushed me to do what I didn't really feel like doing and just, you know, constantly keep going. And it really, and it's a daily work.
And me.
And Cari, yes. Okay, quick commercial. I love Cari Cole, okay? For everyone who's watching, I really do. And I think that it's been, I know, tear.
I love you too. I mean, we've had a great experience working together, and you're such a hard worker. And I remember that phone call when I was down in my house in Florida, and I got the phone call. We had our little chat the first time I met you on the phone, and I asked you to sing something for me, and you did. And I remember tearing up. I remember just thinking, this girl's got something special, and I just, yeah, you know, it just really hit me in my gut, and it's just been an amazing experience, and it was so cool because you hadn't really done anything yet, and you had this beautiful voice, and we opened it up so much more. I mean, you're an extraordinary singer now. I mean, that journey alone has been worth, you know, many moons. But I think also just that you told me the other day how you're actually starting to really write and you've turned the corner and you're getting it, and that's just tremendous. Yeah.
Definitely. And I think that you know, well, I'm working on my EP, which Cari knows, and I have gotten so far with it, and you know, I write for myself, I write for other people, and it's just been an amazing experience. And I think that the biggest thing that I learned is that it is a daily work. You know, it's not something where you sit and decide, okay, I'm going to get over my fears, or okay, I'm going to be a songwriter today. Or it's a struggle some weeks, and it's hard and it's tough. But I think that if you just push yourself and keep doing it and be as honest with yourself as you can, and never negate how you feel. You know, in the back of your mind, always know you're a winner. But if you feel crappy that day, ask yourself, why do I feel like this? You know, what's pushing me in this direction? Is it my environment? Is it, you know, is it something that I'm missing? Practice, practice, practice when you don't feel like it, because that's what's going to save you for those days. You know, I think that I can actually get to the point now where on my worst day, I know I can't sound too bad because of Cari and, you know, the work that I've done and the technique and the writing, and just don't be afraid to share. Yeah. And one thing that stuck out to me too that I'm actually starting to understand a little bit more from what Andre was saying is that I'm actually becoming unapologetic, which is something that I...
Ooh, that's a song title. That's a song title, baby.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry, let me write that down.
Write that down, because oftentimes, like, when you're just talking and you're having an epiphany and you're, you know, record yourself or something, or if you're having, like, a rant and you feel, like, really, like, excited about something, you know, and then pull out song titles, because sometimes it's the things that you say. That's a great song title for you, because that's what's happening to you right now. Yeah. When you start writing from that kind of truth, you start blowing people away.
Yeah.
The truth resonates like a divining rod straight into people's hearts. We all know it. A singer gets up, an artist gets up and performs. Something hits us here in our gut and we can't explain it, and we're crying, we're weeping, or we're laughing with joy, or we're whatever. And that's because that artist is telling the truth. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's what I teach in these programs. There's a big piece of mindset in Step Up. There's a big piece of what it means to be an artist, and how to not come from victimhood of waiting for someone to discover you, and really realizing that it's you who discovers you. It's a big piece. And so, yeah, so tell me now, what is your biggest challenge? Like, where are you with your music, and what is your challenge or fear, or both, or one?
Yeah, I'd have to say that my biggest challenge, and it's so crazy because my challenge in my music always lines up with whatever the challenges that I'm facing in my everyday life. So I think that I have two. As far as my actual writing, it is making sure that my intention is clear and visible. You know, when I'm writing. I think that, not that, I can say sometimes I have a habit of sugarcoating or editing, so, you know, I meant to say something, but that's not really what I said, you know, and I think that I always have been a people pleaser and, you know, had to explain myself, and so I kind of like to kind of keep things a little bit too incognito, and I don't think that my true intention always comes out on the first try.
And it becomes a habit, right?
Yeah.
So you have to continually bust that habit.
Exactly. And the second thing would be, as far as on the marketing side, I realized that, you know, I'm so on and off with social media. And I realized, actually, like last week, that it's because...
How many people in the audience? If you were all here, I think we'd see probably 70% of the hands raised, probably.
Yeah. I realized that my biggest challenge with it is that privacy is a personal struggle in my life, and I definitely want to invite people in, but I want to be able to kind of cut the line where I want to cut it. And Twitter, for example, you know, it's a conversation, but sometimes it's your most random or candid thoughts, and it's kind of really you know, untamed, and I'm a little bit scared of saying all the time, you know, oh, this is what I'm thinking, here's where I'm at with it, you know, and I realize that it kind of makes me feel like I can't turn people off the way that I want to, or I can't, you know, kind of filter in the way that I like to. So that's something that I'm breaking down for myself so that I can do myself and my music and my coming EP some justice, and be able to really also form a real alliance with the people who support me and care about, you know, what I have to say and listen to what they have to say.
Yes. Well, and I think also the thing about social media and the thing about, you know, being yourself, it takes a while of being out there to figure out how to be yourself and what parts to share and what parts to keep private. You know, there are many stars who who are private, and there are areas of my life that are private, you know, that I keep just for me, and I don't share. Do you know what I mean? But I share what I think will be of value to other people, and I think when you're coming from that perspective, you can kind of draw the line a little bit easier in that way. Because it's important to have your own private space. So social media isn't about just going, blah, 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 you know, I'm sharing everything, you know, that I'm feeling right in this moment. But it is, and I think also being a younger girl and a younger woman, it is a little bit more challenging. And to draw the line between your fans and you in a way that's appropriate and that kind of thing. But I think social media is an easier way to do that. Like I had some people that were emailing me, do you know what I mean? And I'm not I'm not a young gal. I still get that kind of stuff. And I just I just say, you know, communicate with me on the Facebook wall. Put it out in the world, not in private. You know, talk to me so everybody can see. And then and talk differently, right? Or not, and then it's an unfriend situation, right? But yeah. Well, that's awesome. I mean, it's been incredible working with you, and you're such a bright light, and I know you have so much to share with the world, and I'm just so devoted and dedicated to helping you along that journey in whatever way I can, always through time, and I'm excited to help you usher your new record into the world when it comes.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
And just to close out my little segment, this isn't any BS, people. I really would not be where I am without Cari and her programs and her honesty. And if you can make the investment in any way, whether it's your time or even financially, because it's going to pay off. You know, I definitely get into these programs because it changed my entire life and my entire being, and not just my music. And the two are very connected.
Kristen and I are getting a little teary. Kristen,
Aww.
over here. Okay. Well, thank you very much. And you know, the feeling is mutual when I have an artist that stands up and steps up like you have so courageously, and you've been so tenacious with your constant devotion to not giving up and the craft, and your ever exuberant personality, and your insight and your wisdom and your ability to really look at yourself. You're one of those people that, you know, and most artists have this ability. You know, Elise, I know you do as well in your songs because I can hear it. You know, this ability to really have this transparency and to look at yourself and to change and to grow. And part of writing is therapeutic. And if it is that catharsis. You know, it's that coming to understanding something that we pour into a song, and when we do that, it's like electricity that's like a current that goes out there and you know, attracts those currents that are longing for release or relief or freedom or whatever it is that we're looking for. And you know, your ability as an artist to do that, to be vulnerable, to be transparent, to go deeper, to go and find that deeper river and pull it up and out, you know, those are the great artists, and you have that ability. So I'm really looking forward to watching what you create.
Thank you.
Yay. Yay! So Elise, welcome.
Thank you, Cari.
So nice to be face to face with you. I think were we on something else, or is this the first time?
Well, I think it's the first time face to face. I think we've talked a couple times.
Ah, that's so cool. That's so amazing. Yeah, when did you take Step Up? It was like...
Oh, you know, I don't even know. It must have been,
a year ago?
yeah, it must have been 6 months, no, at least a year ago, I guess.
It was a year ago or something, yeah. And I remember listening to your music and just being blown away. I mean,
thank you.
You are an extraordinary singer and extraordinary songwriter. And tell everybody kind of what you're doing right now, what's going on with your music.
You are extraordinary at artist development. I really, really appreciate all the work that that I've done with you and you've done with me. My career, what's going on with me right now, is that what you...
Yeah, just give everybody a little picture of
totally.
how many records you put out, or where you're at, or what's going on.
Yeah, I've put out 2 full lengths, an EP, and an unofficial live record, as well as a side project album with a separate band. I'm working on 3 side project albums and my next big main album. For the first time, I think, in my life, I'm giving myself permission to be exactly who I am authentically on this next solo album, which I credit in large part to you. Obviously, I did the work to get there, but you really facilitated that, and so I'm very grateful. And otherwise, I have 2 very small children, and I have a tour this summer, and I tour every summer in a couple months. Otherwise, still.
Where do you tour?
Let's see. My best loops are in Texas, across the Southeast. I live in Austin most of the time now. I'm from Seattle, so I have a really great loop up in the Northwest. So this summer will be a Northwest tour. That's my my best paying loop, my biggest following too. So that's really nice to go back where everybody has all your albums and knows how to sing along to your songs.
Some 2 very cool music towns, actually.
Yeah. Well, I chose Austin, and Seattle chose me, and I'm glad I live in Austin now. But I love going back to Seattle for the summer because it's gorgeous then.
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, it's really cool. That's awesome. So talk a little bit about, as you've been listening, what's been kind of coming up for you, or like what you think of as a musician. What are your challenges, and kind of what are you thinking?
I completely identify with what Tiffany and Andre have been talking about. I think to add to that, one of my major issues was feeling like a fraud, and like somebody was going to. I mean, I've played 500 or 600 shows across the U.S. And when are they going to find out that I'm a fake and I don't know what I'm doing? And also that my songs suck, and several other main issues like that. And one thing that really has snapped for me out of that, because I think that stemmed from a lack of authenticity on 2 levels. One being what I was writing about, how much it connected with me, which I feel like I knew I should be writing about what connected with me, but I feel like particularly Step Up helped me see more clearly what that was, and what it felt like. I think is stronger than what it is. When it feels right, like that gut feeling of when I sing this song, I'm vocally, soul-wise, I'm all in. And you get done and you feel like, even if you haven't necessarily even sung loud for that particular song, that you've sung your heart out. And so identifying that and finding that over time through a little bit of trial and error is what.
Like, what do you think? How has that helped you?
Oh gosh, well, I'm particularly good at the business side. I have a business degree of music. I mean, I don't necessarily do it right, but I find that part to be easier. It's a default for me to work on the business side instead of the music, which doesn't make any sense because the music is where my heart is. It's just what I'm comfortable with. Yeah. And so what I needed was to not care what was popular, to not care, what I thought would be commercial, and write something I would love, knowing that if I loved it, there'd be plenty of other people who would love it as well. Yeah. And additionally, you can't really thoroughly connect to someone through a song if you don't thoroughly connect to the song. And so...
And that's go ahead. It's a huge piece. Go ahead. I want you to...
Yeah, well, I mean, and just taking that a step further, that I've written, a great number of songs since I've kind of had this breakthrough. It was a gradual breakthrough. It wasn't like a light switch, because obviously everybody knows that they should write songs that are honest for them, right? But it was... there's more to it. There's a process that I feel like goes on when you're going through the program. And I've written several songs since then. Went to Austin's Top Singer-Songwriter competition on an instrument that I wasn't familiar with all brand new songs that I'd written based off this new understanding. And I won it because of that authenticity, and they could feel it. Like the room was electric with that.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. It's the energetic alchemy of, like, it's like that movie, like Water for Chocolate.
Love it.
Movie that when they're cooking, there's, you know, this family, and each of them takes turns cooking a dinner, and as they're cooking, whatever emotion they're feeling goes into the food. So they're crying, that goes into the food, and then the family eats the dinner, and then they cry. So they're feeling what the person felt as they're making the food. Same with your music. What you're feeling when you make that music. What is happening? What's transpiring in you? What the epiphanies that are occurring in you is translating, is going right into the music, and it creates that. So if you're creating, if you're thinking, you know, like I remember Andre and I were having this conversation in the beginning of his writing, and we came to New York to working with producers, and he was thinking, oh, I need to write commercial stuff, and I need to, you know, oh, this producer's telling me I need to write that way, and so you start changing yourself.
Yeah, exactly what he was afraid of. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that much of you is showing, right?
Yeah.
You just got to blast through all of that and just say, screw it.
Well, and to, in a non-sexual way, to stand there naked on the stage, and to just go full exposure. For example,
don't tell them that I asked you to get naked. We don't want that.
She totally did. No, not at all.
That's the two of us now.
Well, and honestly, I mean, no one knew that I was married for the longest time in my career. No one knew that I had children when I had children, because I thought that wasn't commercial, and that wasn't.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And lo and behold, there's a huge realm of young mothers that, you know, that grew up listening to the same sort of music that I listened to growing up, that absolutely adore my music and love the fact that I am willing to be balls to the wall, a mother out in the open now, and additionally, on the authenticity level, when you truly believe in what you've made, and that you've thrown your whole heart into it, and that you've been rehearsing. And one of the things that I got, I can't believe I didn't know this before, I guess it just hadn't sunk home, was that you should be doing what you want to be one of the best in the world at every day. Yeah. So if you want to be one of the best singers, whatever that means to you, that obviously you should be doing that as a professional and working on that as a professional. And so by doing that every day, by writing songs that hit me and that I would choose to listen to, my heart is now behind the music in a way that I can take that business side of me, and I can 100% balls to the wall promote it, because I believe in it. And I think part of me has held out on things that I've submitted to, on the way that I've presented myself, feeling like I'm marketing and not like I am exposing them to an authentic, beautiful experience they could have. Yeah. That now is much more honest, and I'm so excited about this next song.
I can't wait to hear it. Oh my God, I'm so excited about that.
Thank you.
I can't tell you, because when an artist is on fire, and we're not going to sing Alicia Keys' song right now. This girl is but when an artist is on fire, like truly on fire in their soul, like in a way that they're tapping this deeper message that they have to bring, it's like aligning. It's like the galaxy aligning. It's like the sun aligning in the center of the solar system.
Yeah.
It's a magnetic thing that people will, you know, glom onto, will respond to, because that's what that means, becoming a brand that you want to follow. It's not from the outside in, it's from the inside out.
Yeah.
When you're sitting in your truth, and you're really not unabashedly and unapologetically, as Tiffany said earlier, which is going to be her brand new single, I know it.
Yay!
Because that's it, man, you know?
Yeah.
But when you are unapologetic about who you are, and it's not just about being honest, it's about crafting, you know, it's about being a master at being able to put those words together so they really tell the truth in a way that is magnetic and captivating.
Beautiful to yourself.
You labor over every word, and you know, not so you get writer's block, not like that, but you just keep that song up on the piano desk, or the, you know, on your desk until it's finished, and you don't put it away until every phrase, you know, fits and it makes sense. That's what great songs are. That's what great songwriters do.
Agreed.
They don't give up on their babies until it actually communicates exactly what they want to say. right? And it's too easy to like throw in a line here and there but those are filler lines, and we try to
Yeah.
run stuff like that. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. Your work has to be extraordinary. It has to be exceptional.
And when you exist in the music that you've created and just you know, play it over and over and over again to yourself, you start to sense again that feeling of truth, that feeling of honesty, on some lines much more than others, and you go,
Yes.
you know, that.
Like, wait a minute,
but the process to find that is really being in it, which I really feel like this program focuses on, how to make you not feel like a fake.
Yeah.
Because you are no longer a fake.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I credit you for the fact that after 600 shows, I finally feel like I'm not a fake. And it was partially from the shows, but it was also partially from you're kind of giving a thorough permission and path to find what that meant.
Well, I just thank you, but it is, you did the work to get you there. Do you know what I mean? And it is an evolution. Every artist does an evolution, and you can find it, you know, without doing this program by, you know, many years. But this can shave time off, you know, and just laser focus you to get there a little bit quicker and identify what are those unique. Yeah. So any closing thoughts for you, Elise, with anyone out there that's thinking about doing this program and what?
I would say that honestly, this program has had. I mean, it has had the impact. It has had such an impact on me for my career, and that I recommend this to all of my singer-songwriter friends. It's profound what the steps and the permission to be 100% yourself in every aspect of your life, particularly artistry and career, will do for you. And it's made a huge difference for me. So.
Yay.
Yeah.
Or your baby maybe waking up. Feel free to pick him up, and if you have to drop off, that's fine. No worries. It's
Okay.
a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Cari. I got to get him to sleep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Amazing. It's no way that I would have been able to get as far without it, even down to little things. Like, there was one person in our artist success circle who was amazing. His name is Dan Orlando, and even just having him there to help me put the chords to my songs. You know, there's nothing that's too small. And also what I wanted to say about those mistakes is, my mom has this thing where she tells me to fail my way to the top, because that means I'm still working. And I love that, and I love it because I've been talking to, I have a couple people that I've run into who are artists, and you know, they have whole projects that they spent huge amounts of time on that they put out and they hate them. Or they go, oh, that's not really me, you know, or now I got to really do the real me. So if you are going to make the mistakes, it's great that you've set yourself up in a system where you have a check and balance and some type of accountability so that you can really put your best foot forward and really put the real you out there, instead of making those mistakes and you have no way to kind of gauge what's right and what's wrong for you.
It's so important. It's so important. And that's something that I'm always doing when artists are posting. You know, I don't have time to listen to everybody's music, I have to say that, but I listen to people's music who are in the programs. And when they post them on the page, because those are the people that are the closest to me, and I have that responsibility to you. And so I can't always listen immediately, but I will always get to it, and I will always listen. And if you ask me a question, I will answer it, because, and you know, I remember the last run of Step Up, or the two, maybe one before the last one, someone was kind of fighting me on it, and I could tell she was battling herself really about the material. And I said, you know, you can't. The drums aren't done well enough. And she went back in and re-recorded them, and then came out, and there were still issues. So she listened that far, but she couldn't go the extra mile for the next, you know, round of comments that I had, and I understand. You know, it takes a tremendous amount of courage and patience and real tenacity and dedication to, you know, be after that extraordinary, exceptional work. It takes a lot of dedication, and that means it's going to be painful sometimes. You know, that means you got to go back in the studio and do that. And a great example is Coldplay, when they did X and Y, and they, you know, have their five, whatever, their inner circle that they show their music to every time they put a record out, before they put it out. And the feedback that they got, and this is what I always tell artists to do, is to have your inner circle, like, you know, like in the artist success circle you have, but you can make your own little circle, right? But people whose opinions you really admire, get their opinions, and then you decide what you don't have to follow everybody's opinions, but get them, right? And then you decide what you want to do with that information. And oftentimes you have to tweak this or tweak that. It's all good. Like, take the time to do that. They went back in, re-recorded the whole record, and put out an incredible record. But they were not willing at that level to just put out a, you know, they weren't indulging their egos. They were really after the best music they could put out. And that's what you have to do at every level as an artist, especially when you're trying to break through, right? It's really important. We have another question here. 2 of my fears from the 6 steps, which I have posted, the 6 steps of Step Up. And if you want to see what they are they posted on our page? Oh, they're in the blog. You can go to the current blog that's on caricole.com, has the 6 steps of Step Up in it. And, oh, it's in the video. Yeah, if you go to the caricole.com/step up, it's going to take you to the Step Up page. And if you're in a browser, go ahead and go there and watch the video. It's only 2 minutes and 38 seconds or something, or 3 minutes. And it goes through all the 6 steps that you will learn in this program. So Ariane is saying 2 of my fears from the 6 steps are 1, confidence, and 2, craft, daily habits and practices. The main one is confidence, and the other one is craft, warming up correctly so I don't warm up every day by myself. How can I get past this? How can I, you know, let me address that first because it hasn't come up. It has to be, first of all, you have to figure out the way that you are and what's going to work. You know, and then you're going to have to really fight with yourself initially, just like you do when you start a gym regimen or you change something in your diet. There's that moment of like, you do something that you don't want to do, right? And that Tiffany was talking about that. You know, Cari in these programs, I did things I didn't want to do, but I did them because ultimately I did want to do them. You do them because ultimately it's going to lead you where you need to go. And what Elise was saying earlier about you have to, if you want to stand on that stage that whoever you adore as an artist stands on, they do it every single day. That's your competition. That's what's required of you as an artist if you want to be exceptional. That it's required because you can't stand on that stage and firmly believe in yourself if you're not giving it everything that you have. So you have to make a decision with yourself. You have to decide and say, okay, I'm going to do this. And just say, I'm going to do this for 2 weeks every day. Don't make it the rest of your life. That's too big, right? And then after 2 weeks, then you recommit. I'm going to do this for a month. I'm going to do this for another month. I'm going to do this for 3 months. This is jamming, right? As you start to pick up some speed with it. The other thing I'll say, and I used to wrestle with discipline and practice, and I started when I was 6, and my mother taught me classical guitar, and we'd fight. We would fight. Oh my God, we would fight. I didn't want to practice. No young kid wants to practice. You want to go play, right? But I'm so glad. She was a classical musician, and so she really instilled that in me. But I didn't like it. I didn't want to do it, right? But I did it because something in me, well, I couldn't keep the guitar lessons of the guitar if I didn't practice. So there was an ultimatum. When you're an adult, that's tougher, but there is an ultimatum. The ultimatum is you don't get to stand on that stage because nobody does. Nobody does. It doesn't do that every day. It doesn't happen. It won't happen. Okay? But here's what I did. At a certain point I was going to music school, I think I was like 20 years old, and I sucked at practicing. You know, I just was not good at it. And I was taking voice lessons, I was in music school, I was supposed to study my jazz guitar, do my vocal lesson, and I figured out that, okay, I made an agreement with myself, if I do it in the morning before I leave the house, because I waitressed and I went to music school, right? So those were the 2 things. So I had a little time in the morning, and, you know, I'd sleep in or whatever, I'd write a song, anything, but the discipline of vocalizing, right? And then once I made that decision and I said, you know what, I'm going to trust what my teacher's telling me. She's telling me I need to do it every day. I'm going to trust her. I'm going to, you know, forget about what I think. I'm really going to trust her right now. And I need to do this for myself. So I'm going to do it before I leave the house every day. And then that worked for me. So or when you get home, the first thing when you get home from work, whatever it is, you got to figure out when that window is, and you need to make yourself do it, and do it, promise yourself in small increments. That's what worked with me. Tiffany, can you speak to that at all?
Definitely. You have to try to make it fun. You know, because ultimately what we want to do is do this for a living. So if you don't do it, you know, now you won't want to do it then. So I realized that I'm a night owl. So I feel like I sing better at night. I feel better at night. And I started watching like all these Beyonce documentaries and like all of these things of my favorite people. And I saw that they were night owls. So I would always say to myself, okay, this is what they do. This is what you're doing. You're on your way there. Whatever you have to do to kind of push yourself. And I just also confidence, we all get butterflies, we all get scared. My thing is losing the words. I always forget the words when I'm getting on stage. But what I will say is that confidence comes more by doing. So when you do something so much, you know that if you bomb, you can't bomb but so bad because you've been doing it so much. And I think that we're kind of taught as kids, be confident, love yourself. But it doesn't really work that way. You have to really figure out how you work and really push that to build up your confidence. So the more you practice, that's how you're going to get confident. They go hand in hand.
That's right. Confidence comes from the action. So it's like when you go to work out at the gym and you want to lose weight or whatever, like you have to put in some time before you see that result, right? Mm-hmm. But it's that action that starts tightening you up and making you feel, you know, making you feel good, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about that. And the last thing I want to leave you with is this. Your music isn't just a hobby. It's a calling. Answer it. And if this is speaking to you, it's time that you claim your craft and you step up for yourself. Because who you're really stepping up for is you. You've heard from the other artists here tonight. You've witnessed and listened to the extraordinary shift that's happened in their lives that is available for you. I'm 100% dedicated to that happening for you. That's my life's work. And there's a money-back guarantee. You have nothing to lose. If this is speaking for you, then please join us for this summer run of Step Up to the Spotlight Kickstart Artist Development Program. It's been my pleasure. Thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andre. Thank you, Elise. Thank you, Patricia. I'm sorry you couldn't join us. She couldn't get on, and I know she had some wonderful things to say. So feel free to share anything you want, Patricia, on the Cari Cole Voice and Music page on Facebook or on Twitter, #NameYourFear. I so admire every artist out there listening who has that burning desire, that talent, that passion. You can realize your music. And this is a forum to do that. I hope you can join us. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.